Hello, welcome to Oregon Cash Flow Pro. Today we're going to talk about life insurance. We've got basically two flavors, term insurance and permanent insurance. You'll see I've got liability here next to term and asset next to perm. Term insurance is an if you die type of policy, and permanent insurance is when you die type of policy. So term insurance is your least expensive. Historically, I think insurance companies pay out about 3% of term insurance policies. Typically, they end up ending before you pass away, which is a good thing. I mean, right? But that's why we say this is an if you die type of policy, because it only pays out if you die during the term of the policy. Permanent insurance is insurance for your whole life. So it does not end unless you surrender the policy, if the policy lapses because you stop making payment, or you pass away and the policy pays out.
Oregon Cash Flow Pro offers free money management advice to help you take control of your finances. More wealth, less debt, fast. And now here's your host, personal finance enthusiast and licensed insurance broker, James Barber.
So why do I have liability and asset next to these? Term insurance, we view that as a liability because it doesn't grow in value. You pay a very small amount, that's all you pay, and you get the death benefit. That's it. So when you're shopping for term insurance, you're typically looking for the best price that you can get out there. This is a liability on your balance sheet. You just pay out for it. You pay out, you pay out, you pay out, and you may or may not collect at the end of it. Now the reason I've got a star here is because it can actually function as an asset at times. So term insurance, like perm insurance, you're actually able to sell that at times. So if you have a term policy that is convertible into a whole life policy, you may have the opportunity to sell that policy before the end of the term runs out, because it's able to be converted into a whole life policy and other people can find value in those. So something to consider. But when you are shopping for term insurance, there's a lot of really cheap policies out there. There's medium price policies, and then there's expensive policies. But for the most part, what I want you to think about when you're considering term insurance, it's a really good idea to make sure that you have convertibility. You want to be able to convert that into whole life. The reason being, if let's say you get 10-year or 20-year term insurance policy, they're cheap, you can get a whole lot of coverage. It's great if you have debts that you want to cover with that insurance policy, so that if you end up passing away, your family is going to be covered. Your income is going to be replaced for them. Term insurance, awesome for that. But let's say you have a 10-year policy and in year 9, you get diagnosed with heart disease or cancer. And you're going to be able to get treatment, but it's going to take a while, and who knows how long you have left to live. Or maybe you get a real dire diagnosis and you only have 3 years to live. You are not going to qualify for any other insurance. Nobody's going to insure you at that point, and your term insurance is going to run out. So you just paid into it for 9 years, and through bad luck, you're not going to get any of the benefit from that. Well, if you bought a term insurance policy that's convertible to whole life, you would exercise that option, knowing that it's going to be well worth it to you. You get whole life policy at whatever rating you bought the term insurance at. So if you were in great health when you bought the term insurance, you're going to get great health rates when you convert that term insurance to whole life, even if you have a disqualifying diagnosis. And at that point, your family knows that at some point down the road, when you do end up passing away, they're going to be covered. You have peace of mind, they have peace of mind. It's a great deal for everybody. So you want to make sure if you're getting term insurance, you want to make sure it has convertibility. The other thing you want to make sure is, does it convert into life insurance that's a good product? So not all companies out there are great companies. Not all of them sell great whole life policies. So you don't want to just necessarily go with the cheapest term insurance you can find, although some financial gurus recommend that. There really is more to it than that. You want to make sure that the term insurance can convert, and that it can convert into a product that actually works for you. If it is convertible, you may have the opportunity to sell it. So I know of at least one instance where somebody had a $500,000 term policy, 73-year-old man, and it's convertible, but he was able to sell that for $78,000 or so, well over the amount of money that it cost him to put into that. So definitely could be a need for doing something like that, and it's good to know that there's options on the table. Permanent insurance. So permanent insurance comes with in a whole bunch of different products. You've got universal life, index universal life, variable life, and whole life. And companies, there's hundreds of companies out there, and they all have different ways of doing things. I personally contract with about 24 companies. And even among those 24 companies, there's only a handful that offer really great whole life policies. There's a handful that offer really good index universal life policies. I don't get into variable policies at all because I'd rather not actually be invested in the stock market. They tend to have higher fees associated with them as well. And then universal life policies, we don't really see too many of those these days. They've kind of gone by the wayside. But there are some really good universal life policies that have a guaranteed death benefit for a very low price. So there are some good options in there where those end up being the best product for whatever reason. So when it comes to permanent insurance, we are talking about insurance that's going to be there until the end of your life. That's the advantage of it. All permanent insurance builds cash value. So you end up having access to some of your premiums at some point in the policy, and you can use those for other reasons. So all permanent insurance has cash value associated with it. Most of them have some kind of guarantees associated with it as well. Your universal life and your index universal life have certain periods where you have guaranteed death benefits associated with it. Whole life insurance has guarantees associated with it as well, that are much stronger than the index and the universal life. But each one has their place, and we'll get into those in a future video. But permanent insurance, we tend to view that as an asset because it does have that cash value growth. You have the ability to put money into it and take money out of it through a number of different ways. You can also sell these policies. So you own these just like you would any other asset, and courts have ruled that you are in charge of them. You are able to sell those just like any other asset that you own. The insurance company doesn't get to say if you do or don't change owners on these policies. When it does come to changing owners, though, there could be tax consequences. Capital gains is in effect on any value of that over your basis, and your basis is how much premiums you've paid into the policy. So there are exceptions when it comes to capital gains when you sell a policy, and that happens when you are within a 2-year window of death. It creates what's called a viatical settlement, where if you sell that policy, it's deemed an early death benefit payment and you don't end up having to pay capital gains taxes. Something you'll definitely want to check with your tax advisor if you're ever in that situation, just to make sure that everything happens as expected. So if you have any further questions, stay tuned to this channel because we're going to keep talking about those. Feel free to put them in the comment section below. And if you found this video helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to get notified of new videos as they come, tap on the little bell next to the subscription and you'll get notified anytime I put up a new video. Have a good night.